All right, pick up in the CrossFit class. Now, this is a question that came through. I thought I might address it by video. First of all, if you're doing CrossFit, I want you to take a serious, hard look at yourself in the mirror, and I want to question, what are you trying to pick up? Like, is it other dudes? I mean, and you need to have a serious discussion with yourself about your own sexuality if you are an avid CrossFitter. I'm of course kidding. Just like to mess with my CrossFit friends, and I implement those WODs into my workouts as well. But okay, so we're talking about like not just CrossFit, but it could be any class. Like there's this idea of, well, take a class or do it, you're single, so you take a class or you do some activity with the hopes of meeting, a chick, or if you're a girl, meeting a dude who has a similar interest. I'm going to talk to the dudes right now, okay, because that's where the question came from. Well, first of all, that's an avid strategy. That's not a bad thing. I personally wouldn't take a class specifically to meet women. That's me personally. Women come in and out of my life every single day, all day long. So it's not something that I need to specialize, like take a special trip for. But I do things. I'm going to get back into my MMA stuff a little bit and do some of that, and probably jump into some boxing again, just for a few months before maybe getting back into jiu-jitsu. Will I run into women? Probably not many, but in the jiu-jitsu class, maybe, I might take up, I'm interested in getting back into some ballroom dance, just because, it's a good skill set to have, and I enjoy knowing how to dance with a female and knowing how to know what you're doing on a dance floor, in that sense, and it's fun. For me it's fun. So whatever, and it's good for your coordination and all that stuff. I know a lot of pro athletes who've done similar things and who are pretty good, at actually dancing, because it helps their footwork for their sport. And anyway, it's something I might do. Will I run into females there? Sure. CrossFit, if you're a passion for CrossFit, I was kidding around with you earlier, but yeah, you're going to run into females. Okay. So the question is, how do you approach that? Well, first of all, it's kind of like my gym video. You never want to be the thirsty guy. Okay. So you don't go in there, even if you want to meet women and like that's on the forefront of your mind, you don't go in there with that thirst, where it's obvious that that's what you're there for, and you're talking to all the chicks, and you're being that weak ass male that is trying too hard. You don't want to be a try hard. Okay, it's obvious when a tryhard walks in the room. He's trying to work the room in some class and make sure he talks to all the chicks. It becomes pretty obvious who that guy is. Now, you're not an adult who doesn't talk to anyone either. So the key is to go there, have fun, be social, be alpha, and talk to everybody. Okay, guys, girls, women you're not attracted to as well as regular women. Treat them all the same. Okay, and more or less. You're obviously going to interact with a female different than you're going to interact with a male. I hope so. Okay, but that being said, as far as the females are concerned, you're treating them all more or less the same. If with the same demeanor, if you will. You're not tipping your hand as to being interested in one over another. If there's like the hottest one in the class, well, everyone is interested in her everywhere she goes. So you're not gonna, You're not gonna impress her by letting her know that you're extra interested. That's what everybody's doing. So treat them all the same, because the thing is, you don't know any of them, and even the hottest chick in that class could be a total train wreck and a disaster that you find out about after dating her or getting into it with her. So they have to earn your attention. They have to earn your I don't say respect, but they have to earn your efforts too, a little bit. So just be in the class. It's a class, so you'll be returning to the class, okay? And just assess the situation, meet people, kind of get to know people, and be social. But be alpha, okay, but be social. And when I say be alpha, what does that mean? Topic for another video, or hit me up for coaching, because it's too much to get into in a video here. All right? But you socially dominate the room, and you have a good time. So that's your first imperative. That's the first thing you do. If there's no women or in that particular class that you like, then finish out the class or whatever, don't, whatever. I recommend you're taking a class that you want to take regardless of whether or not women are there, all right? And so enjoy the class either way, all right? Now, if there's a few interested, or if you're like at a CrossFit gym where you're doing a class and then you're working out at the gym, and there's just like any gym, there's women that are in and out. Same thing, be alpha, be on your purpose, but be social, okay? And observe. Now what you're going to observe as you're social is you're going to observe indicators of interest. So certain females are going to be more interested in you than others. Certain females are going to try to, when they see that you're not out there trying to hit on all the chicks and that you're not a thirsty beta male, they're going to try to put themselves in your orbit. They're going to try to get your attention in different ways. They're going to try to make it a point to talk to you. They're going to try to make it a point to look at you and to get you to look at them. And so you let that develop, okay? And it's not a long development. It can develop over 1 or 2 classes or whatever. I mean, it's pretty quick, that actually. One day usually it'll develop, you know, depending on who you are and what your perceived sexual market value is. Then that's another point too. Don't show up, you know, do what you can to make your sexual market value as high as you can when you're in there. Don't show up ungroomed, looking like crap, smelling weird, especially a fitness class. Do you know what I mean? This is the basics, but you'd be surprised. You know, guys will show up after some work or whatever, and they, you know, worked in the shop somewhere and they're dirty and they look like shit. Get a shower in, throw on some decent workout clothes that are actually gym fashionable or CrossFit fashionable, whatever. And you know, it's not all about, you know, don't look all put together like a tryhard, but it's mainly hygiene, be clean, and be, you know, present yourself as the best version of yourself with your hygiene and your dress, you know what I mean, and your demeanor. So those are all of that. So that lays the foundation. See, a lot of game in the pickup and stuff is laying a foundation to then be able to get people to go on dates. It's not about it. It's not about having your life and every part of you a mess and then thinking of a clever line to convince someone to go out with you. Okay, it's you lay this foundation of being a high value male. So now that you've laid that foundation, okay, now you've noticed the indicators of interest, so you're seeing who's more interested than not. What you're going to do is be a high body count sniper, all right? I say a high body count sniper because I'm not saying get one-itis and go for one girl and one girl only in hopes that she likes you and all this stuff. She hasn't earned that. That's like a lot of guys will do that. They'll commit themselves to one chick who they perceive as the best chick for them in their circles, and they'll sit there and just pine for her, try to get her on a date, blah, 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 be her friend, be her texting buddy, all that bullshit. Don't do that, okay? Be on your own mental point of origin. But when I say sniper, I mean you're noticing who has the highest indicator of interest for you, and out of those who have the high indicators of interest, who is the one that you're most interested in, and then that's who you carefully select to get on a date, you know? And so then you approach, and it's a simple approach, just conversationally, whatever it may be. Hey, let's get out of here. What are you doing right now? Let's go grab a drink, or let's go grab a post-workout meal or something, you know? And it's just real simple like that. What are you doing next week? Well, let's hang out outside of the gym. You know, when are you free? Something simple like that, because you've already laid the foundation. There's already been some normal social interaction. You're already not placating to her. You're already not one-itising her and becoming her texting buddy, her friend, or whatever, where you set aside your workouts to go be her buddy. You know, you're not doing any of that stuff. There's none of the placating, but there's a good social interaction. The foundation's laid out. You've seen who has a high indicator of interest. You more or less snipe them, and you get them on a date. Now, let's say they turn you down, or they give you kind of runaround. Well, we can talk about that in other videos too, but then you basically put them in a rotation. Maybe you're going to ask somebody else, but you're not going to ask somebody else that day. You're going to let that cool off a day or two. You should be in other areas of your life where women come in and out of your life as well, so you should already be dating. That's the other point of it. You shouldn't be sitting at home, you know, staring at the ceiling and the wall with no date options and bored out of your mind, and then you show up to class and you go for your one-itis, all right? What you should be doing is either dating or doing a lot of things on your own mental point of origin that fits your own goals. Women are coming in and out of your life, and this particular person in this CrossFit class just happens to be one of them. You get her on the date, or she doesn't, or she gives you the runaround, or for some reason she doesn't want, she's not high interest, then you let it go, and then you kind of move on to the next. So high body count sniper, you know what I'm saying? And that's how you handle it. So that's it. And so that's the basics of it. Whether you're in a dance class, a cooking class, a painting class, painting with the wine or whatever. And make no mistakes, single women go to these things for the purpose also of meeting men. Like, they're not stupid. They want to go there and they want to meet men with different interests, and they don't want to be on some swiping app or, you know, at some bar all the time trying to meet dudes. So they go to these things for the express purpose of that. So they know the score, okay? So don't think that they're oblivious. But play it cool. Like I said, be a man about it, be alpha, be on your own mental point of origin, and set some dates. Now, there's a lot of nuances to this, what to say, when to say, how to say it. That's why I coach, because I can't cover that in a video, and some of that stuff is going to be very individualized to your personality. So you need some coaching or help on this stuff. That's where I can really get you ahead, years ahead, in like a couple months. You know, that's the reason for the coaching, is that you level up very quickly when you have somebody that knows these things and can help you with these things. And it's not just picking up on women, by the way. It also extends into your interaction with the opposite sex, whether you're dealing with female coworkers, bosses in a non-sexual manner, whether you're dealing with family members, whether you're dealing with female friends, or whether you're dealing with a long-term relationship, your wife, or any of that stuff. Communication, how to communicate appropriately with women, is a skill set that requires you to learn. And for women, it's also a skill set for you to learn how to appropriately and effectively communicate with men. So hit me up for coaching, like, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.